And welcome back to Sports the NEMO Way, the 1970s NBA edition. And today we'll be discussing the greatest duos of the 1970s NBA. So at the end of this episode, hopefully we will have two duos as the two best duos of this decade. All five of us are here this week, which is nice. I always like it when the whole crew's here. I don't think I have anything else, so let's get started. Drew, who is your number two duo of the 1970s?
John Havlicek and Dave Cowens.
I also have them.
I do too.
I have them as well.
They were in my,
Sorry.
yeah, they were my number one.
Yeah.
So they're unanimous.
Yeah.
Look at us go after last week's struggles.
Let's keep it up, boys.
Look at us rallying together.
That's right.
I like to see it. Well, John averaged 21, 6, and 5 during their time together, and Dave averaged 18, or just rebounds, 14 rebounds and then 4 assists. And we actually have a little bit of steals and blocks. I forgot to write John's down, but Dave averaged 1 block and 1 steal.
Havlicek averaged a steal.
So we're starting to get those back now, so we can all look at more stats besides just 3.
Yeah.
Yes. They're also one of our longer.
Yeah,
They played
probably one of the longer duos I looked at.
together.
And won 2 titles.
Yeah, 2 rings. Yeah.
Say,
Cowens got an MVP.
MVP.
Right?
And Rookie of the Year.
And Rookie
Yeah.
of the Year, yeah.
They're a very well-rounded duo.
Havlicek had like 7 all-defensive teams, and Cowens had 3.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know after the last 2 decades, we made a big deal about 2 rings, but like winning, we had 10 years and 7 different champions in this decade.
yeah,
So like winning 2 rings was actually a pretty decent deal in this decade. So
It's a weird decade.
it is.
it is.
It's just
It's kind of you have like the really early years, then you have like the Bird, Magic, and then Jordan, and then the 2000s. The 70s are like their own little weird section that
They
separate
are.
the old days
Yeah.
from the Bird and Magic to
Yeah, it's
Jordan.
just-
Yeah, I don't think anybody like NBA historically wise knows really what to do with them.
Yeah.
Well, I think you had some phenomenal players
Yeah, most definitely.
during the 70s that got derailed
Oh yeah.
yeah.
by off-court things.
Well,
that
Correct.
could have been some of the greatest all time had they been able to control.
Yeah.
There's a lot of partying going on back then.
That's right.
Well, you kind of had the beginning of the 70s. You had the guys from the 60s kind of roll over. Like you had Russell and Will and Jerry West, and then like come over. Like they were so good at the beginning of the 70s, but then they all retired. So like kind of there in the middle 70s when those guys didn't take off the league. Well, I mean, as we saw, the league kind of went down because the stars that were supposed to rise didn't because they had other issues going on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of guys, Uncle Doug's age, swear that Thompson would be like a top 10 player of all time if he didn't get hooked on coke.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I definitely believe that.
yeah, Mark
he was
Mark
phenomenal.
swears by it as well. Like Mark is always talking about how, Thompson this and Thompson that, and
He was amazing, but man,
Yeah.
he could get high in more way than one.
yeah.
Do you think it has something to do with, like, in my opinion, Kareem is the best player in the world throughout pretty much the 70s.
Yeah.
It's Kareem's world for the most part. But, like, since he's the top dog, but I feel like he didn't have that overbearing, like, in the limelight personality. Like, and the way, like, he was, you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
He didn't. I don't know. Not that he didn't care. He knew he was the best, and he wanted people to know, but he wasn't going to go out there and tell you.
his personality wasn't like some of the other guys that, like
He didn't have Wilt's personality.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He had a more reserved, and he had certain opinions that he would tell you, and not everyone agreed with some of the things he did and said, and it was just there was just like I don't want to make him sound bad, like he was causing a bunch of trouble, because that's not really what I'm saying. Like
Like a Tim Duncan
but-
kind of player.
But he wasn't that like.
it was different back then.
Yeah.
And he was worried about other things and was fighting for certain other things, and there was just tension there.
If you were trying to build,
And he was the greatest
or if not
player
you,
in the
but if
world.
the league was trying to build a superstar, they would want somebody that was very outgoing and charismatic.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't Kareem's personality.
No.
You can say that about a lot of people. It wasn't Bird's personality.
Right.
It wasn't Jerry West's personality.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's why the 70s kind of misses that giant superstar that carries the mantle for the league.
Well, I think they thought it was going to be Bill Walton. Because
Yeah.
Will Walton did have that charismatic, huge personality.
That's fair, actually,
And then
yeah.
a year and a half into his career was virtually over.
Right.
You know, like,
because he had
injury problems hit.
Yeah.
He was done.
he had Russell and Wilt through the 50s and 60s, and then you have Bird, Magic, Jordan. Then you're into Shaq, Kobe, Duncan. And on. The 70s is that weird section
It
where there's
is,
really
right.
no big, humongous, all-time great. With
They're either old or they just don't talk. Like they don't.
there's no representative for that decade.
right,
that
like
you point
the
to.
biggest personality everybody hated. I mean, you're talking about Rick Barry.
Yeah.
Nobody
Right, yeah.
liked him, but he had a big personality.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just rubbed everybody the wrong way.
Right. Exactly.
And plus, also in the 70s, you also had the ABA going on, so you had focus on two different
Yeah.
leagues.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Because that's where Dr. J started
Yeah.
and spent the first several years of his career.
Quite a few really good players started, actually.
Wasn't
Gervin.
George
Yeah.
Gervin in the ABA?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gervin, George McGinnis,
Well, even Rick Barry played in the
Gilmore.
Barry.
Oh yeah.
Gilmore. Yeah. All those guys started in the ABA.
Jackie Moon
Jackie Moon. That's right.
Tropics.
in
Well-
Flint, Michigan.
Well, shall we return to our duos,
Love
gentlemen?
that. Yeah, we don't need to go down this road. I'm going to keep going.
Uncle Doug, who is your other duo from the 70s?
Well, I looked at several, but I
That's what
finally settled on Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West.
I looked at him.
I did not go with him. I'm a little surprised here with you, Uncle Doug. All right, fair enough.
Okay, because 4 years together, which is at the low end of what we've done. But there was a lot of that in the 70s.
That's true.
They only got one title, but they did at least get a title. Wilt had a couple all Ds. Jerry had like 4 all defensive teams. The no MVPs, but Jerry was second in the MVP voting. 3 of the 4 years he was with Chamberlain. During their 4 years together, Wilt averaged 19 points, almost 19 rebounds, and 4.2 assists. He led the league in rebounding 3 of the 4 years he and West played together. Jerry averaged 26 points, 4 rebounds, and almost 9 assists a game. So that's who I went with.
Okay.
But I have a feeling my other one that I've thought long and hard about is going to come up pretty quick. I think it's going to be one of Wade's.
Maybe.
By the way, I just pulled Jerry West up since you were talking about him. It's something that stood out to me. I don't know if I noticed this before or not, but they don't have steals and blocks on his stat line until his last year in the league. And he averaged 2.5 steals a game his last year in the league.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah. What is Uncle Doug the only one with Wilton West?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
anyone
thought
else
about
have
him.
anything to add on those two?
No.
No.
I will say this though. The 60s could look completely different if those two played together in the 60s rather than the 70s.
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
If you add
Change
Wilt
things.
to Elgin and Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
ooh, yeah,
I feel bad for Elgin, to be honest.
I do too.
Yeah.
I feel real bad
It's really
for
shitty,
Elgin.
to be honest. But yeah.
All right. Well, Wade, who is your second duo from the 70s?
I have Wes Unseld and Elvin Hayes.
I don't have them either.
That's not who I looked at them.
I got you, Wade.
Not who I thought you'd pick.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought
dang.
about him and I was like, you know what?
Well, not only were they both really good players in their own right, but they were actually a great duo, as in they fed off each other on the floor.
West didn't need the ball.
Hayes is top 10 all time in points and rebounds. That's what he did. He was there to shoot turnaround jumpers and average over 20 points per game,
Turnaround jumper.
and get 10 to 12 rebounds. That's what he was there for. And Wes Unseld was there to fuck shit up, and he was
and he was good at
yes, and rebound. And they won a title together. Unfortunately, Wes Unseld's MVP is right before the 70s, so I don't get credit for that one in the 70s. But I just thought literally you have Wes Unseld, who was such a hard worker and did all the dirty work, and he was so good at it, and he made it all the way to the Hall of Fame. Like, really, him and Dennis Rodman are kind of like the two guys that you think of when you think of guys that were so good at all the dirty work that they made it all the way to the Hall of Fame. Like, and then you have Hayes, who's out there to get buckets and boards. And I thought it was a great tandem. I thought they were a sneaky good pick.
That's what I thought.
I came across them at one point, and I was like, I didn't even think about these guys. How did I not think about this?
I thought they just mashed well, perfectly together, like just like as a duo in general.
They were
Yeah.
good. And Wes Unseld was probably the best at throwing the outlet pass.
People still
They
talk
always
about
talk
that.
about that.
People
Yeah,
always
every
talk about
time
that.
Kevin Love throws an outlet pass, they're like, "Oh, reminiscent of Elvin Hayes," or not
Wes
Wes
Unseld.
Unseld.
Oh, and Unseld was good at it. I mean, he'd bring that rebound down, and man, the ball was out.
I know. I think I've said this like 20 times on the podcast, but it's someone else said that the only person that Wilt Chamberlain was ever afraid of was Wes Unseld, because Wes Unseld would fuck him up. You know,
Yeah.
he'd get into him. He wasn't scared of him. Wes Unseld went
No,
at
no.
him, and it's hard to move Wes Unseld. You know,
Yeah.
not saying Wilt didn't do anything to him, but it was a tough matchup for him.
Wes wasn't that tall, but he was big,
Yeah,
and he was strong.
Elizabeth
Yeah.
6'7", and his nickname is the Oak Tree.
Yeah.
And
so
that's that. I mean, I was pretty young then, but I remember watching him play. He
Yeah.
was impressive.
I mean, an underrated part of his game all around is just his all around passing. He would pass out of the post and the high post. Like he was a very just good passer in general, and a lot of it shows up. He has some nice passing seasons.
Well, he averaged over 4 assists a game.
Yeah, I mean, he was.
So.
Yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to throw in, Drew?
No, I just thought they worked. Like, I mean, obviously they have like accolades in the championship, but stuff like fitting together on the court. I thought they fit really well. It wasn't like we had like two scorers or like anything together like that. Like they played well together. Like they were both post players was the dominant. I don't know. I think it shows that too, like the way they played. I don't know.
That's what I liked about both of my picks. Havlicek and Cowens
Oh, it wasn't.
played well with fed off of each other on the court, and the same thing with Hayes and Unseld.
That's what I thought. I thought both my picks had like actually. I
And
know.
they-
Even Wilt West. I feel like all three of them. They all like played well together. Like I don't know.
I think Unseld needed Hayes' offensive production, and Hayes needed Unseld to do the dirty work that he didn't want to do.
Right.
He definitely didn't want to do it.
I mean,
We talked about in the Elvin Hayes episode when
Yeah.
we ripped on him for an hour.
We did.
the dude's top 10 all time in points and rebounds, and we shit on him.
Alex says he doesn't want to be here.
There is some stories about him that
So,
don't paint him in the greatest light.
what year did they win the title?
78.
78.
Was it 78?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if anyone else would have him. I'm glad someone else does.
You can
I
always
definitely
count.
looked at them. They were on my list.
You can always count on me over here in the corner.
They probably would have been number 4 on my list.
Ooh,
I'm
number 4.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm still shocked that number 3 is not your team.
Well, don't count out Ray in the other corner.
Interesting. Ray's always got
I am
something for you.
interested in what Ray's going to do. So, Ray, while we're talking about it, Ray, who do you have as your other duo in the 70s?
Well, I went with a sleeper pick
Oh no.
on a team that doesn't exist anymore. The Buffalo Braves. I went with Bob McAdoo and Randy Smith. They played from
Okay.
72 to 76. They didn't start really cooking until year 3, but their average 5 years together, McAdoo was 27, 12, and 2, and Randy Smith was 18, 4, and 5. Now, I don't know if they won any titles. I doubt it.
No.
Yeah.
McAdoo won some MVPs in there, didn't he?
I can't
He
remember.
did win one at least. I don't know if
Yeah,
he
I'm
was
not sure
I
when.
know he got at least one. Yeah.
McAdoo was the man for a while.
He was a boss for a period of time.
I mean, he was good.
I think he got a couple scoring titles too, didn't he?
Yeah.
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 He,
Pretty sure.
he got a couple titles, but it was with the Lakers in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was there later with yeah. Yeah, they weren't in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Buffalo's had some heartache in championship town.
Yeah.
Not just in basketball.
Yeah, I didn't realize Randy Smith was that good.
The Buffalo is now the Clippers, right?
I believe
Ooh,
so.
I think
yeah.
so, yeah.
Still?
Yeah.
Oh.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then we talk about Bob McAdoo in the Clippers episode.
Yeah, because we
Yeah.
put like
Oh.
him and I think we talked about
Blake
him
Griffin?
and Blake Griffin forever
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
Clippers
yeah.
episode. Yeah. I think
No,
that
when
was
you said
one of our
when
debates.
you said a duo or a team that doesn't exist anymore, I thought you were going with the Supersonics.
That's what I thought.
And I thought you
Oh.
were going with Gus Williams and
DJ.
DJ, because
Oh.
that's one of Mark's. That's who I was trying to think of
okay.
earlier. Yeah, he had Gus Williams
Yeah,
and
they were
and
good.
DJ.
But I don't. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't look up their
They-
stuff.
I guess I got one title though. I mean,
They did win
they
a
did
title.
win
Yeah.
at least one.
DJ was good in Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
both
with Jack
good,
Sikma? Is that when Sikma was with the Supersonics?
I think you're right. I think
Old Jack
Yeah.
Stickman.
Sigmund was a boss, wasn't he?
He was. Sikma was
He
good
played-
for a few
He
years.
played in the ABA, didn't he?
I don't know. And see, he came out of like Illinois Wesleyan or
I think he
some little college.
Oh, is
like
it
that.
Illinois College?
I think so.
Is it the one where I went to the track meet, the little D3 school?
You might have to look him up, but he went to
I'm pretty
some.
sure it's Illinois College in Jacksonville, I think.
It was like Illinois Wesleyan or something like that.
We talked about him for quite a while on one of the
It's the
starting
Supersonic
five,
Thunder. Yeah, he was our center,
Yeah.
I think.
because a couple of us really wanted him on. I think we got into a pretty deep conversation about him. I remember some of this.
Illinois Wesleyan College in
Really nice
Bloomington.
numbers.
Yeah, Illinois Wesleyan's where he went. He's from Kankakee, Illinois.
Major is a county.
Yeah, and by the way, McAdoo won the MVP in the 74-75 season.
Okay.
So yeah. So I thought I'd go with a nice sleeper pick. I mean, there was a couple Nick duos I thought about. I mean, I think there was one other I was looking at, but that's the one I stuck with, I guess.
You can't go wrong with Bob McAdoo in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, these are 3 straight seasons. He came in second, first, and second in the MVP voting.
Yeah.
And the 2
good.
seconds he lost to Jabbar.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't like he lost to some Joe Schmo.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. McAdoo was good.
Yeah.
I mean, and here I'll go ahead and his 73 season he was 30.6 average. 74 season he was 34.5, and then 75 is 31.1.
Yeah. It's good.
You can average 34 points per game in the NBA.
With
doing-
no threes.
Yeah, with no threes.
Yeah. Well, this is, you were talking about earlier about the 70s not having somebody that really stood out because again, McAdoo wasn't a huge outgoing personality. You
Yeah.
stick him in Buffalo.
That's what I'm saying. You're also in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I
Not a huge market.
That's
yeah.
fair. It's a good point.
Well, you have to remember, and I know we've talked about this before and other things. Back then, the NBA was not on TV all the time like you see it now.
Right.
I mean, even into the early Magic Bird days, I can remember going and playing basketball on a Friday night, coming home and watching playoff games that they tape delayed and showed at 10:30.
That's crazy to think about.
If
It
it
is
was
weird to
on the
think about.
weekend, they would show it live during the day. But a
Yeah.
lot of times during the week, they put it on at 10:30 at night
Well, and there
after
was,
the news is on.
and I guess it was back then. It would have been easy not to get spoilers because how else are you gonna find out?
Yeah.
No, someone's tweeting the game. You don't know.
Nobody's tweeting it.
Right.
There's no.
You just
the
wait for the-
newspaper doesn't come out the next day.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess it would work.
Yeah.
The newspaper is how most people kept up with
Yeah.
Right.
sports.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how you got all your
Read
stats.
box scores and looked at stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, it was totally
Every day.
different world.
Wasn't that how fantasy football was at the beginning?
Yeah,
Didn't you
it
look at the
was.
newspaper clippings and you do your own manually?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Is that nuts?
That's wild. Think about it.
Yeah, Bill Simmons still talks about it on his podcast about.
That's
and
where I
the-
learned about it. Was
yeah.
from Bill Simmons.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess we're back around to me
Yeah.
because I don't have any of those.
Oh shit! All right.
Well,
we really rallied.
my duo is Kareem and Dandridge.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
No.
And Kareem during this time won 4 MVPs.
Yeah.
They won a championship together. He averaged 30 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks on 55% shooting. And Dandridge averaged 19 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal on 49% shooting. So,
How many years they play together?
5.
5. Okay. Yeah, I guess I thought about Kareem, but I forgot about Bobby Dandridge. I guess I didn't realize he was
Well,
that good.
I didn't think about it immediately. I immediately went to him and Big O. And I saw
I knew
Big O
Oscar wasn't
stats.
there very long.
And I was like,
And at the
no,
end of his
I can't
career-
do that.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was looking at the roster, and I was like, oh, Bobby Dandridge was there. And so I figured it out. And I was like, you know what? And I hadn't decided to go with them yet, but I put them on my list, and I ended up coming back to them. But I will say, I have a bunch of. Can I talk about this for a second? Because I have a bunch of.
Who's yours, Dad?
Duos.
What?
Who was your other one that you wanted to know
That I
about?
thought Wade would have?
Yeah.
It's Willis Reed and Walt Frazier.
Yeah, I have them down here.
I thought about that.
The Willis,
2 titles.
They
It's
did.
just Willis Reed is so old.
Yeah.
He's only really good for 1 year in
Yeah.
the 70s, and then
Right.
his decline starts.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what held me back, because they were like the second people I looked at.
Yeah,
Is that
because
That's what I thought of.
he had an MVP in 70, 2 finals MVPs.
Yeah.
He was all defense 1 year. Of course, Clyde was all defense the 4 years they played together.
Yeah.
And they won 2 titles, so I thought, oh, I bet Wade will go with Clyde.
Well, here's
I almost
another one.
went there.
I told myself, I was like, Uncle Doug's either gonna have he's gonna. I figured you were gonna have Kareem, but then I was like, here's another one that I think Uncle Doug might go with. He might go with Pistol Pete. I have Pistol Pete over here with Lou Hudson, and they didn't win nothing, but their numbers are stupid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, their numbers are good.
Like between one of them averaged 24, and the other one averaged 26.
Now, how many years did they play together?
4.
4 again.
Yeah.
Well, another one, and maybe this is one Mark had,
Mhm.
is I had George Gervin and Larry Keenan.
I have them over here. Yeah,
Okay.
I have George Gervin and Larry.
Because they
Keenan.
put up 28 and 21.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
I also have Moses Malone and Calvin Murphy over here.
Yeah.
And Malone has an MVP during their run
Moses.
together. They both averaged 21 points a game, and Malone averaged 15 rebounds.
Yeah.
You know, but
there were some great players in the 70s.
there were.
That must be one of Moses' longest stops.
It's 4 years.
That rascal
All right
got
for
around.
I think he had 4 years with Philly.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
been Philly for a
I'm
little bit.
pretty sure I looked at them for my 80s list. I've already done my 80s
I
list.
did, yeah. I looked at them too.
Yeah.
Well, I have it written on the back of the sheet. Yes, they played. He and Dr. J played together for 4 years.
Yeah.
That dirty rascal. The other 8 years of his career were 8 different stops.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like Washington.
he's in.
Isn't he in
he was in
Atlanta for a year?
He was in Atlanta. Yeah.
Because I remember his basketball reference page. It looks like a Hall of Fame jersey numbers. He's just
Yeah, he just started. Oof.
oh man.
Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
I should
five.
have said anything. Every time I say we're gonna rally.
4 for 1. Because
Yeah,
Havlicek and Cowens were in.
Yeah, Havlicek and Gallons were unanimous. Started off strong, guys.
How
And
the
then-
hell did we all? Okay.
2, 1, 1, 1.
And then we tanked. And then we tanked worse than Jordan Poole and the Washington Wizards.
Well, aren't they and the Knicks the only teams that won 2 titles in that time span in the 70s?
The Knicks and Celtics, yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody else, the Bucks have
with
one,
one.
the Sonics have one,
Portland.
Washington has one,
Lakers.
Portland has one, the Lakers have one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody else is 1-1-1.
We're missing. Oh, and Rick Barry won it with.
Right.
Pretty spread out decade, honestly.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool to watch, like if it was actually on like someone different for the most part.
We've had a
really-
little bit of that here recently.
Yeah.
Since the Cavs Warriors stuff ended,
Yeah.
we've gotten some different teams
Yeah.
in there.
Some.
So there was some good basketball played then, but
It's good to see both. I think both are good for the sport after a while.
I don't want people to misunderstand earlier when I was saying this was a bad decade for duos. It wasn't necessarily a bad decade for basketball.
right. No, it was
No,
good
there was a
for
lot of
basketball.
all-time great players during this
Oh
era.
yeah.
There's just a lot of weird stuff going on in the decade that just kind of, like we already talked about. There wasn't the one huge person that you identify with the decade. There was a giant drug problem. It was,
And then like the
NBA
guys
almost
from the
went
60s
bankrupt.
played the very beginning and were good, but they left fast. And we had guys that came in the end of the decade. Very rarely did we have guys there the whole decade.
Yeah.
Right.
Filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just a
and that
goofy
was
time.
one thing about Havlicek and Cowens is 8 of the 10 years they were together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Who would have thought we all would have agreed on the Celtic players and then spread it out everywhere else?
yeah, no kidding.
Kind of like the 70s titles.
So
All right. Well, before we start arguing or debating, does anybody want to go ahead and move? Like, did anybody get convinced by an argument or a stat line before we even start? Drew looks very convinced to leave, so go ahead, Drew. Take your vote.
No, I'm staying with my guns.
Oh, okay.
My guy Elvin's.
We got the numbers right now. You all
I'm
got.
playing the numbers game, Alex.
Well, we're gonna play the numbers. Let's look at Kareem's numbers,
Oh no.
and we'll compare them to Wes Unsold's, and we'll see.
Oh,
Same number of assists,
no.
same number of rebounds, and like 20.
he wasn't a scorer. We've been over this. He's a great outlet passer. Kareem's got nothing on the outlet
It's all
pass.
about setting picks and throwing outlet passes out.
Yeah.
That's how you win games.
Can't set a harder screen. I got the advanced analytics back then.
Oh my god.
He's a winner. That's my most hated phrase in all of sports. Winner.
He's a winner.
That's what he is, Alex. He's a goddamn winner.
Yep,
War and you're a winner.
he's a winner.
I know it's a little off track, but I keep hearing JJ McCarthy's a winner, and I just want to tell everybody to shut up. It's like,
No, I saw it. Somebody,
no.
some
He got
Titans
carried.
fan. Isn't it the Titans he's playing for? No, who's he
The
playing?
Vikings.
Minnesota
Those are the
Vikings, there it
Vikings.
was. Some Vikings guy the other day showed a clip of him doing a play in practice the other day and was like, "Man, I'm getting Mahomes vibes." I was like, "No, that is so great."
I saw one because I'm a Bears fan, so it was the Bears guy took a clip. It was one of the worst interceptions I think I've ever seen. I mean, he throws it right to the defense guy. I'm like, "Yep, here we go, Vikings fans." This is the same guy that beat Penn State in the second half. Didn't throw the ball once. He hit the ball off 25 times.
Here's my thought process, and we go right back to basketball. But like, if you, when someone asks like, "Oh, how good? What's good about this player?" and all they can say is he's a winner, that means they don't have anything to say about you. Like, or they'd say it. If you just say, "Oh, well, the guy's a winner," that means he was on a
The
good
thing
team.
that JJ could do at Michigan was he could run a little bit more than what the other quarterbacks did before him. So he was able to extend plays, and I think their defense has got better from when he was there from some of the other ones. And he showed up just enough in the Ohio State games to win.
No, you're 100% right on that. In big moments, his athleticism did things like I can't remember the stat, so I don't want to name it, but he had some ridiculous stat of like during their run this year of like so many third down conversions straight converted, but like a ton of them were with his feet.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
With his arm.
Yeah.
It was he would, like you said, he's not super athletic. It's not like he's Lamar Jackson.
Just enough.
But he's more athletic than those pocket quarterbacks that they've had
Yeah,
recently.
the Shea Pattersons and the Cade McNamara guy that went to Iowa now.
Yeah.
He was able to do just enough. And having the two-headed monster running backs behind him, he could, I don't know.
He's just the guy right now that everyone says that he has that label. So
Well, the Vikings don't ever have anybody, so they need somebody to talk about.
yeah, poor Justin Jefferson. He just wants to.
You know why Wade hates that term though, because for
Why?
like a decade that was the term everybody used for Brady.
Fuck it. God.
Yep. He's just a winner, Wade.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. God, that shit pissed me off.
No, he's
Sorry, I
like,
got us way off track.
I don't feel like you hear it in other sports. It's pretty much just football.
Um,
you hear a lot about quarterbacks in football. He's a winner.
Yeah.
or maybe yeah. I'd say
Quarterbacks from Alabama. He's a winner. Let's draft him. Well, how about how many 5-stars he has on defense? Or all the 5-star receivers he has?
I saw this meme the other day, and like there's this famous picture, you guys have probably seen it, of Hurts and Tua and Mac Jones, or they're all at Alabama together,
Yeah.
like grabbing on each other. And there's a picture of them, and below it has like Jalen Hurts says, "From the good old days," and Mac Jones says, "Oh, the memories," and then underneath that, Hurts says, "Shut the fuck up, Mac."
Well, I think in the picture they don't have shirts on. Like Tua and Hurts look good, and Mac's just got this big old belly.
yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, we should probably get back to our 70s basketball
Yes.
talk. Well, I think Wade made a lot of my case for me. The best player of the decade is on my duo.
That's true.
Well, I was going to say, I'll come off Wilton West and go to Kareem and Dandy.
There we go.
Wow. Putting Ray in a corner here. I like.
Ray loves being put in the corner. He thrives.
Ray loves making the key decision.
Nobody puts the tech guy in the corner.
He loves it. Ray thrives off pressure.
As, by the way, I know you listeners can't see, but currently Ray is sitting in the corner.
Yeah, when I talked about earlier about me and Ray being in a corner.
And this is not Dirty Dancing, and I'm not Baby. What do I want to do?
Yeah, what do you want to do, Ray?
What was Hayes' stats again?
Evan
Oh,
Hayes?
Yeah.
I can look as long as my computer continues to work.
21.5 points, 13.4 rebounds, and 1.9 assists.
Okay. What was Dandridge's stats?
19, 5, and 3, something like that.
hold on. 19, 7, and 3.
Oh, 7 and 3. Okay.
Yep.
Hmm.
And both those tandems have a ring.
Yeah, each got one ring.
Man, that's rough.
Yeah. It's actually an interesting episode.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
It started off so promising.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Should we give ourselves credit if we have a perfect week with just 2?
I think we should do it at least once.
We should.
Well, I hope.
We should.
Yeah.
We should.
Next
I-
week.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah, I think next week's we got a good chance.
I mean, Dominique has some pretty great teammates. That's all I'm gonna say.
Dominique and Doc, huh?
Yeah.
Kevin Willis. Or Tree Rollins.
Oh, tree.
By the way, I did notice this the other day because I was looking at my 90s stuff. Tree Rollins was Olajuwon's backup when they were making their runs in the 90s.
Nice. I did not know that. Well, Ray, where are you leaning?
Well, McAdoo and Randy Smith are done. And Unsold and Hayes have another vote.
There you go.
Rock on, baby.
I feel like Kareem's era is the one coming up.
Well, if you want to talk about numbers, it's not close.
This is his numbers era. The next era is championship era Kareem. This is Afro scoring whenever I want Kareem. Next one's bald goggle Kareem. Winning championships. That's when I think Kareem in my head, when we talk about Milwaukee and scoring, I see Afro Kareem, and then when I think of the Laker one, it's bald.
This is how Mark always describes it. In the 80s, Kareem stopped rebounding.
He does have some weird. He does have weird fades at the very end of his career where they kind of go away. I don't know what was going on then. I didn't watch it, obviously. So
I think he was just tired.
yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
probably.
Style of play, and he was aging. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, if we want to take him at his word, he's probably telling us the truth. You lug Lambeer and Lanier up and down the court for 48 minutes a night.
Oh, well.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a line from Airplane, not from an interview. But
Yeah.
Would be.
My dad said you're pretty lazy on defensive end. Just save it all for offense.
That's funny.
But I think you're great, Mr. Jabbar.
Yeah, we still think you have the points total. Nobody's getting past that.
Oh no, no, no.
We still believe that.
Ray's trying to get us canceled.
Fuck LeBron.
All right, Alberta. Honestly, I don't think Kareem and Dandridge is a bad pick by any means. The reason I didn't go with them is because when people look back on the Bucks championship team, they think of Kareem and Oscar. I'm not saying Dandridge wasn't good or anything. That's just what people think of. They don't even really think
That's
about
fair.
Dandridge.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Ansel and Hayes are the two guys that they are the all-time great Wizards. They're the only ones.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's the Wizards' only time to
Don't
shine.
don't be
They
disrespectful.
weren't even the Wizards. They weren't even the Wizards. They were the Bullets.
Hey, this was the Bullets.
Yeah.
And I love John Wall, but he's not quite up there. He didn't quite make it.
I feel like Bradley Beal's being disrespected right now, and he's catching strays. And I don't even know
Oh,
what's going on
fuck
here.
Bradley Beal.
Well, what about Agent Zero? I mean,
I knew you were going to bring it. I knew it.
bang bang, motherfuckers.
He shot his career to death.
What about my guy Jordan Poole?
Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. They're the duo for the 2020s for me.
Hey, there
I'm
you
telling you right now.
No,
They're going to be on my list.
I was thinking more Jordan and Draymond for the Warriors, but they're a deadly duo in practice.
What the Wizards need to do? They need to get what's that fool that was on Philly that went to the Nets?
I feel like that went to the Nets.
Oh, Ben Simmons.
Yeah, Ben Simmons. Take his trash ass to Washington, and that's going to be the most bougie bitches of all time.
Hey,
That would be.
but their shirt game would be on par between Kuzma and Ben Simmons. Man, they would have some crazy fashion going through
They
Washington.
would.
Yeah.
They would. They wear some weird shit.
Oh man, Kuzma. Sometimes I'm like, did you just put it like a trash bag on? Like,
Yeah.
what did you just do?
Yeah, and got away with it. Like, bro, what'd you do? Go shop at Dollar General?
Whoa, relax. DG's got some high quality items. Got some high quality stuff out there.
Oh
my
free
goodness.
advertisement.
Every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 to 10, I'll be there.
3 12-packs for $10.
Dude, I think Natty Light's like $9.95 right now. I got you. Almost. I've been working there 2 years. I got you guys.
Product placement today, boys.
I would take a Natty Light sponsorship with the Crest.
Yeah,
Oh man, I'll drink the shit out of some Night Light. They give it to me.
man, that was more
true.
than that's what we drank more than water back in the day.
Yeah. Good lord, that is what everybody starts on.
It was Rock Gut Central.
Natty.
First beer I ever drank was a Natty.
Mm.
Same here. That's what I said. Everybody here starts on that.
Yeah.
That's like your.
That or Kessler's and Pepsi.
I can't say that on air.
Anyway, the 70s.
Yeah.
Oh man,
So we've settled on Unsold and Hayes, Weston Elvin.
If you guys are down for it,
oh, Mark responded
what?
and he said, "I think I'm gonna have to change mine up. I've been thinking about it, and I'm gonna go with Havlicek and Cowens and Hayes and Unsold."
Ah!
Mark has spoken. Let's go with it.
All right, Drew.
What we like
alright.
to do.
We got bullets on the board.
That's right.
There you go.
Washington's on the list.
Oh, so
This was their only chance to get on.
yeah, I don't think they're getting on any other.
They haven't done
decade.
anything since they've been the Wizards.
Hey, Agent Zero and Jameson had a couple nice seasons. All right, it was like Brendan Haywood and
The most famous thing they've done is bring back Jordan. That's all they've really known for.
Bringing back Jordan.
That's true. That's true.
It's crazy.
All right. Well, I think that'll wrap up our duos conversation and lead us into MVP talk. And this episode's MVP year will be the 1973-1974 NBA MVP discussion. Trying to pull it up here. But I do believe Kareem won that year.
Yes, he
Yes,
does.
he did. Thank you. Kareem won, averaging 27 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks on 54% shooting. This is still Milwaukee Kareem, by the way, for anybody that was wondering. And it was actually a close race here. He beat out Bob McAdoo, who we've talked about during this episode as well, who averaged 30 points, 15 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks on 54% shooting. So very similar numbers.
What was Bob's rebounds?
15.
15. Okay.
And other people that have been mentioned in this episode, Lanier was just mentioned just very briefly a second ago. Averaged 22, 13, 4, 1, and 3 on 50%. Dave Cowens averaged 19, 15, 4, 1, and 1. Elvin Hayes averaged 21 and 18. Yeah, so I don't think anybody else really stands up to the two at the top. But oh, this is a very interesting one between McAdoo and Jabbar, because their numbers are very similar. They both average 3 blocks. They both average a steal. They both shoot 54% from the field. Excuse me, I mean a few hundredths of a percentage point apart, but nothing to, talk about. Kareem averages 2 more assists, while but McAdoo averages another rebound, and then there's a 3 points difference in between the two of them in McAdoo's favor. I haven't looked at their team here.
Did either
Milwaukee,
one?
I'm sorry.
Did either one win a title that year?
Ooh, who won in '74?
I feel like we just said it.
The Celtics won.
Oh, okay.
Celtics won this year. They beat Milwaukee in the finals. Milwaukee in the finals.
So Milwaukee was in the final.
Yes.
Okay.
And they were 59-23. So they had a very good record. And Buffalo had a winning record, 42-40.
They were third in their division.
Yes, they lost.
Probably the difference
They lost in
right
the
there.
first round to the same team, mind you. Though they lost to the Celtics in the first round.
Yeah. I'll say probably the two separators being the team record and probably back. Well,
You think players like Kareem more than they did Bob McAdoo? Or I don't know, because
Not really sure.
players are still voting. This will be our last one where players are voting, so I don't know how they feel about each guy.
I don't really know. I've never really read up on like Bob McAdoo's relationships with anybody. Like I don't know.
yeah.
So how did they do the player? So they just like hand out slips and they're like write down the vote.
After the last game of the season, they just hand you a piece of paper.
Do they like phone these in?
I honestly don't know.
Honestly, being back then, it probably was something really simple.
I'm trying to
They
figure.
probably at the end of the year, they probably just had at the end of the year team meeting. They probably said, "Okay, vote for someone who can't be our own teammate."
Well, it makes me wonder. Like maybe you had one of them sketchy, training room guys that collected all the votes and then maybe did like a phone in and be like, "Oh, really? Oh, I'm gonna add a couple votes to Kareem or whatever and take a couple off this dude." Kind of
Well, and
thing.
they have first place votes listed and then points won. So evidently you must have voted for more than one guy.
I'm gonna assume so.
Maybe list your top three. I don't know.
Yeah. Because, and both votes were reasonable. Jabbar was 74 to 60 for McAdoo to 37 for Lanier on
Okay.
first place votes. And then on total points, Jabbar was 528, McAdoo was 451, and Lanier was 395. So Lanier was right up there with them.
I don't know what Detroit's record was that year.
Was Kareem more
52 and
high
30.
profile at the time?
No, he would have been in Milwaukee, not Buffalo, and he would have been in the final.
It would have been Milwaukee, not Buffalo.
But,
Milwaukee still wasn't a huge market at the time,
no, but they'd won a title.
and he's probably won. That's probably what his second
They
MVP.
already won their title.
Yeah, I think they won
Yeah.
it earlier.
Yeah, they did. They won between the Knicks, I think.
Yeah, they won it early on.
Is this?
And Jabbar was super well known coming out of UCLA and all the titles and everything he did
Okay.
there.
That's true.
He was also from War Memorial High School in New York City, so he was known on the
So
East
he's got
Coast.
connections on both coasts.
Right.
This is
He's
what
known
I'm
on the
hearing.
East Coast because he's an East Coast legend in New York. They knew him on the West Coast for UCLA, and he's playing in the Midwest, so he's got the whole country covered.
So Kareem sounds like Kareem should be a politician. He's got.
That's kind of interesting. Kind of a question I had, which I guess only Uncle Doug could probably answer. What you said their defensive stats were the same, right?
Steals and
But
blocks. Yeah.
stats doesn't really always tell the whole story of playing defense, really. Like I feel like Kareem would be known as the bigger defender back then with the way the game was played with him and his size. I feel like he would alter more shots down the lane, but then someone like McAdoo would. But again, I don't know. That's just an assumption. What was McAdoo's? Did he have a similar defensive impact as Kareem? Do you think?
Well, let me.
I mean,
I
I really don't know.
How tall was McAdoo?
Like 6'10", maybe. You look at McAdoo's profile, there's no all D
Okay.
on it.
Is there a spot on that website that does like head-to-head matchups?
Not on here. Yeah, StatMuse does head-to-head
Oh, okay.
matchups if you want to pull that up. I'm going for the real deal here. I'm gonna give Way what he really wants.
What's that?
Defensive metrics.
Oh God! All right. Hit me with your best shot.
Defensive win shares.
They track this for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, we always talk about win shares, but they're split between offense and defense.
Yeah.
So defensive win shares over his career, McAdoo had 32.8. Now I have no idea if that's good or bad, but that's how many he had.
All right.
Well, here.
And his defensive box plus minus is a negative for his career.
Okay.
Negative 0.2. So not like it's super negative, but it is negative.
Okay.
I
There was
guess
some Kareem advanced analytics here.
Kareem. I'm coming. Gotta scroll for a little bit. Advanced.
We haven't talked about some of this stuff in basketball. in a while.
Defensive win shares 94.
Hmm.
So triple pretty much. And his defensive box plus minus is 1.6.
compared to negative 0.2.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Kareem had a much larger impact if you base it off, I guess, a couple advanced analytics.
Well, in the 70s, Jabbar led the league in blocks at least twice and had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Made the all defensive team like 8 or 9 times out of 10.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So they played each other 3 times that year.
Yeah.
McAdoo had 32, 8 and 1 in one game, then he had 23, 11 and 4 in the next, and he had 36, 9 and 3. But his field goal percentage was 65, 40, then 65.
Okay.
So 2 really
So-
good, 1 bad.
65 is pretty legit.
That's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
good. For, yeah. I'm just trying to think of more of like a.
You gotta switch the names, otherwise it won't give you the other.
That's what I was trying to figure out how to do. How do I switch?
Yeah, you have to like take out one and put on the
Okay.
other end.
That's what I was trying to figure out how to do. I was going to type in Kareem.
I learned that doing the 50 graded stuff because I would
Ow.
do that for a lot of our talks.
I was like kind of like trying to think of like with the people that are voting, are they going to instantly think of Kareem as a much more dominant defensive figure than McAdoo? So that would make up for the small difference in points per game and the one more rebound or whatever, and then the team success on top of it. Probably, if that's the case, will probably be why he won over McAdoo. I guess what I was getting at, but I just didn't 100% know for sure what the defensive difference was.
So Kareem, those 3 games. First game he averaged or had 31, 21, 5. Next game 36, 16, 5, 38, 11, and 2. And he shot 56%, 55%, and 63%. So Kareem did Kareem thing.
Okay.
Oh, and in those games he had 4 blocks, 3 blocks, and then no blocks. So
What team won those?
And he had
games?
5 steals in one game. Let me click on it and see. Oh, well, the first game pops up. The Milwaukee Bucks dominated the Buffalo Braves 130 to 113.
Oh, okay.
130 to 113.
Wow.
Wow.
High scoring game.
Putting up some points.
I don't know if anybody played any defense that day.
The next game, Buffalo Braves was a nail biter, 115 to 110.
Okay.
Scoring some points.
And then the last game, where is it? There it is. The Buffalo Braves beat down the Milwaukee Bucks 145 to 109.
Oh.
Wow.
Damn.
And didn't
Wow.
Kareem have like 38 and 20?
Yeah.
Nobody else must have.
Yeah, where was
so,
Dangerous?
so Kareem shot, what, I said like 60%?
Yeah, something
Well,
like that.
as a team, they shot 47%.
What did Dandridge do,
I don't know.
Wow.
Had a late night at the bar, apparently.
though? 145.
Let me see what all.
The Braves won the season series. See, the plot just thickens, boys.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. The Bucks won the first two.
You said the Braves
No, you
won.
said the
You
Braves.
said Braves won too.
Won the second.
Oh no, I meant the Bucks.
Oh, the Bucks won.
Yeah, the Bucks won the first one.
Yeah, you said
Or
the
second
Braves
one.
won a nail biter.
Drew doesn't know. Drew doesn't know who won what. Drew
See?
doesn't-
So they
Dang
each
it.
blew the other one out once, and then
The close
Bucks
game.
won the close
Okay.
game in the middle.
All right, I got what the second game, or the last game. So, here, okay. Let's see what he did.
Sorry, you're talking to yourself.
I know.
That's why he's gonna be doing a season watching the Bears.
He had 13, 2, and 3
Dandridge?
on 57% shooting.
Oh, 57% though.
Yeah.
Who on the rest of the team was taking shots?
Somebody was chucking, man.
But Andrews wasn't shooting, and he wasn't rebounding or passing.
Yeah.
So he wasn't doing much.
He wasn't doing much.
13, 2, and 3 ain't getting it done.
Oh man.
But the other games, he had 27, 8, and 8, 18, 9, and 3, and then 13, 2, and 3. So something happened that night in Buffalo.
Sometimes they just don't have a good game.
That was the night in Buffalo. So
Yeah.
It was probably supposed to
probably 2 foot of snow.
It was February.
There we go.
February in Buffalo.
Heat probably wasn't working or something.
Oh, that'd be rough.
I hated cold practices and gyms over Christmas break. I'm sure you guys know, but that sucked.
Yeah.
No, see, they always talk about like, teams like pranking each other, like in their hotels, like shutting the power off or setting the fire alarm off, whatever. And if you're in Buffalo or Minnesota or Wisconsin or something in the middle of winter, just turn the heat off.
Yeah.
Like, talk about making people miserable. Like,
Stuff
all right, well, we kind of hemmed and hawed around about it. But what's everybody think?
I'll probably give a slight edge to Kareem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll let him keep it.
Yeah, they're close enough.
It-
I think
it is-
Green.
They're
It's close,
comparable.
though. Yeah.
If Buffalo was a little better, I think you could make a very intriguing back and forth. I just think Kareem just has them by just a couple little edges and a couple different things.
What year was that again? Was
73, 74.
Yeah, Randy Smith didn't hold up his end of the bargain that year.
We didn't even have me look up rain.
Oh no, that's when he. Yeah. Yeah, that was the slow starter years.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He was like 14 points or something.
15, 3, and 4.
Yeah. Like I said, they didn't start cooking till like year 3.
Start cooking the year 3. You forget to hit cook time in the first 2 years, or
Yeah, they were preheating the oven.
He did have 4 straight years of 20-plus points a game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There in the middle of the 70s. All right. Well, I think that wraps up our MVP discussion. We hope you enjoyed that. Please tune in next week for our 1980s edition. We'll be doing the same thing we did today. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in to Sports the NEMO Way.